91. Smith led the FBS in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns this season. So, Shannon, will he be a perennial Pro Bowl receiver in the NFL?
I think what's causing people concern, Skip, is the slight build. I think when you look at him, he doesn't have the physical stature, say, like a Julio or a Mike Thomas, one of these big receivers. But let me give you a couple of guys who his body type reminds me of. Marvin Harrison was 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. Isaac Bruce was 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. Both of those guys have over 1,000 catches. Both of those guys over 14,000 yards. Both of those guys in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Both of those guys could run very good routes. And the one thing we know about receivers coming out of Alabama, Julio could run routes even at 230. Calvin Ridley, impeccable. Jerry Jeudy, impeccable. DeVonta Smith, impeccable.
Amari Cooper,
impeccable at running routes. Now, Ruggs is the fastest, so his right it's kind of hard to run routes when you got that kind of speed because it takes you time to decelerate and get in and out of breaks. But we get where we're going with this, Skip. So I think he can be very good. A lot about where a young receiver goes has to do with where he goes and who his quarterback is at the time. You look at Jefferson, and while you might not think Kirk Cousins is great, he's a very good quarterback. And 1,400 yards tells me, okay, yeah. And so you look at some of these other, Calvin Ridley, where did he go? He went with Matt Ryan in Atlanta. Julio, Matt Ryan in Atlanta. I think the quarterback at the time was Derek Carr with Amari Cooper. I think they came out the same year. I think he was the second-round pick and Coop was the first-round pick. So that has a lot to do with it, Skip. He goes to a good situation where there's a, I'm not saying he got to go with Tom Brady, he got to go to a historically great quarterback, but he goes to a place where they have a decent quarterback. I think he can be very good because he understands competition. And in Alabama, it's competition every day. Because if you have a slip-up, another guy's going to get on the field and think about it. He had to wait his turn, Skip. Catch the game-winning touchdown as a true freshman, comes back, win the Heisman, lets you know he's built the right stuff. So I think he can be a very, very good pro.
Perennial Pro Bowler?
Skip, if you think about it, Isaac Bruce only went to 4 Pro Bowls, but he had over 1,000 catches, 15,000 yards, and then the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So will he go to 8, 9 Pro Bowls? Probably not. But could he make 3, 4? Yeah, I'll give him that.
I'm going to go perennial Pro Bowler. I agree with you. Much of the equation is the quarterback. You got to get right place, right time, right fit.
And he's had good quarterback his whole career in Alabama.
He has. But I have been taken by this young man on and off the field. I got chills last night watching him handle himself in winning the Heisman. It is obviously it is rare for a receiver to win it. And when we talk about go-to receiver, clearly a number 1 receiver, usually they have to have some diva in them. It just goes with the position.
They're brash, they're outspoken.
They are. Not this young man. Amari Cooper out of the same mold, maybe to a fault, because I sometimes wish Amari had a little more self-confidence.
But do you think about it, Skip? Julio's like that. Julio's not brash. Amari is quiet. You look at all that Ridley doesn't do. Maybe that's the way that system.
Maybe Coach Saban says, I'll take them, but I'm going to show them that they have to play my way or the highway. Okay, so this young man came out of small town Louisiana as a really skinny freshman, 160-ish pounds. And he rose and shone on the biggest stage in college football, and he took over that team on and off the field. He became the unquestioned leader of that football team, and it's hard for a wideout to become the leader of a team. But you can tell they just gravitate to him, they watch him, they feed off him. He dominated games this year in ways it's rare to see a wide receiver.
Especially when Waddle went out.
Agreed. Once Waddle went out, he just said, I got this. Even against Notre Dame the other night, I was just in awe of his production.
It's effortless, though. It's just like...
It's easy speed. It is easy speed, and he catches the ball effortlessly, a la Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice's problem was he caught everything so effortlessly that it never looked like he made a highlight reel catch because he made them all look easy.
There is no one-handed catch like we see DeAndre Hopkins or Odell make everything. He just made everything look so easy. So you're just like, Man, he ain't that good.
Okay, so I got it. I've told you, I've docked Tua a little bit because he benefited from the track team of receivers. You can also dock this kid, and you can say, well, yeah, but he had Waddle for much of the year, and he had everybody else around. You know, they're surrounded.
They might get Waddle back.
They might for the game. They might. I think so. It sounds like it's headed that direction. But if you look at the production from this young man, against Georgia, 11 for 167. Mississippi State was 11 for 203. Auburn, 7 for 171. LSU, 8 for 231. Florida, the biggest game of the year, 15 for 184, and then 7 for 130 against Notre Dame, and it felt like it was 14 for 260.
And Skip, remember last year, even though they lost to LSU, he went over 200 yards.
Listen, he's going to go in the top 5. He might go in the top 3, depending on what the fit is.
Yes.
But the point is, right now he's listed at 6'1", 175. He plays a lot stronger than his build. He looks strong to me.
Yes.
I don't see him getting out physical.
No.
I don't see him getting bullied by press coverage. I don't think you can press him.
And that's the thing, Skip. Like I said, when you look at him, I mean, you look at him in his uniform and you look at him holding that trophy, you can tell he's a thin-built guy.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was in the league
But you've seen Wiry strong.
Yeah. Like I said, I was in the league when Isaac Bruce played. I remember playing against Isaac, and he was tremendous at running routes. Could get off press. Marvin Harrison. Skip, look at him. His body is exactly what Marvin Harrison's body is. You look at Marvin Harrison, and that's what his body looks like.
Yeah. Now, Antonio Brown is a small man, but he's in a different package.
He's shorter. He is more returnish, and that's why he has that start-stop quickness. So I think he's going to be really good because normally Alabama receivers are really, really good.
Yep. And remember, he returned punts this year quite a bit. Not all the time, but he had a 24-yard average on punt returns and broke one for a touchdown. So if you wanted, if you want to risk it, you could use him as your punt returner. They used Des Bryant, the Cowboys did for a couple of years as a punt returner.
Well, Tim Brown returned punts for a number of years. He was the first true receiver and return got it to win the Heisman Trophy, and then Desmond won it a couple of years later. But